Building a brand new home sounds simple, right? Pick a plan, choose some finishes, and then you're done. But in reality, there's two completely different ways to do it. And in today's video, we're going to explain them to you. And we're going to get real with it right now.
In today's video, we're going to give you a step-by-step guide to help you understand the process of building a new home. Perhaps you've been thinking about doing this for a while. Perhaps you've gotten bad information or have been scared off by recent news coverage about the housing shortage regarding new construction. As Aaron said initially, there are two very different ways you can go about building a new home. You can either build in an established planned community where everything is already set up for you, or you can start from raw land, and that's a whole different process. Luckily, we've had extensive experience with both processes, and in this video, we'll be covering both. We'll also be sharing with you a customer experience from a client who reached out to us last year through our YouTube channel with hopes of purchasing raw land to build on.
Okay, let's start with the easier and more common route, building in a planned community. Now here, the builder already owns the land, the lots are prepared, and utilities like water, sewer, and electric are already in place. Here's how working with one of those builders would go. We would initially set up a search and identify a community and meet with that community manager on site. Now, we've worked with many top builders in the region and we have very good relationships with them. At this meeting, we'll visit a model home and meet with the builder for a presentation of available floor plans and lots available in that community. Now, here's a couple examples of schematics you'd be presented with at this meeting. Now, we'll also go over budget and pricing, timelines, and any promotions or incentives that builder is offering. These could include free upgrades, closing cost reductions, mortgage buy downs, and seasonal promotions.
Step 2. Once you decide on a desired plan of action, we will meet with you to write up a contract. At this point, we will identify a lot and we'll make final choices on designs and floor plans. The contract will specify such terms as timelines for breaking ground, footer installation, framing inspections, deposit amounts, and of course, the settlement and move-in dates. At this point, you should be prepared to give a deposit, which will be held by the builder and is typically non-refundable. Once the contract is signed, building will commence.
All right, now step number 3. Now we're going to conduct a planning meeting to go over styles, design choices, finishes, and upgrades. Things like fireplaces, finished basements, countertops, and cabinets. Some builders will have more options than others, but you'll always have a choice of style. Typically, you're going to have about a month or so from the day you sign the contract until you have to finalize your choices.
Step 4, breaking ground. So, once you've broken the ground, the timeline for the build can be anywhere from 3 to 10 months, depending on availability of lots and the timeline of the builder. In some cases, the house may already be under roof or already started. For example, we just actually had one that took about 5 months, and this was from the time that we chose the lot and signed the contract until it was totally complete, which is roughly the estimated time you can expect. Over the course of the next couple months from that point, there will be various inspections at different stages of the build to ensure that things are going well and everything is up to code. At each stage of the construction, there will be an inspection by a certified township building inspector. These stages include footing inspections, foundation, framing, rough-in, insulation, and drywall. Once those are all completed, there will be a final inspection. These will all be scheduled by the builder. Once we do the final inspection and the loan is clear, then it's time to settle.
Now, in some cases, our new build clients will have to sell their current home in order to purchase their new build home. For more information on this, make sure you check out our video on selling and buying a home simultaneously. So as you can see, when working with a builder in an existing community, instead of figuring out the land development yourself, your focus is really on the house. One of the biggest advantages here is predictability. The builder has a proven system, timeline, and process that's been repeated over and over again. And remember, if you're looking to move to the central Pennsylvania area, make sure you reach out to us. All of our information is in the description below. That way we can help you make a smooth move to the area. And if you're not ready to move yet, we have a relocation guide that you can also download. That's also in the description below. Or you can always call us at 717 Realtor, because we're in the 717 and we're Realtors.
Financing is also more straightforward with this process, as most builders typically have lenders that they work with, and you're going to be using a standard conventional loan. Although in certain cases, a construction to permanent loan will be needed. We will be touching on the details of a construction loan shortly.
But there's going to be a trade-off if you go this route. For one, you're limited to that builder's plans, their pricing, and then the possibility of an HOA, and what the builder will allow you to customize. And for a lot of people, that works perfect. But others, they might want more flexibility, more privacy, or a completely custom design. And that's where raw land comes into play. And this is where things go from relatively simple to a little more involved.
For example, there will be no community manager to work as a liaison. Instead, you'll be working directly with us to find a local builder that you feel comfortable with. We have worked with some of the top builders in the area and are familiar with the various steps and timelines required for the development of raw land. Some builders have specific styles and building plans they've become known for, and others will do custom homes or even semi-custom homes, utilizing a general template along with your desired choices.
Now, just recently, we had a client reach out to us from outside of the area. They were moving here to be closer to family, and were having trouble finding exactly what they're looking for on the resale market. They knew they didn't want a typical neighborhood, so we explored the option of building. Based on their desired criteria and vision, it made more sense to identify raw land and find a builder who could bring their vision to life. Now, we ended up finding 3 lots that were perfect for their needs and began interviewing builders. We settled on Hutch Homes based on their presentation and portfolio. Hutch Homes is a reputable local father and son builder with over 50 years of experience, owned by Jim Hutchison and his son Court. They offer a personable craftsmanship approach to their projects.
All right, let's go over financing options. At this stage, we will find you a lender experienced in construction and land loans. Keep in mind, the way raw land deals are financed is different than a standard conventional loan. To explain these financing options, we are lucky enough to have Nicole Shank with Fulton Mortgage with us on today's video. Nicole is particularly enthusiastic about construction loans and did a phenomenal job for us. She was the loan officer on this particular transaction, which included 3 lots, one of which was paid for in cash and 2 were financed. Let's hear from Nicole.
Thank you for having me. And it's true. I mean, clients can come to you at any part in the transaction. Sometimes I get a client when they are looking for land, right? They come to you, it's like, hey, I'm interested in building. I want a piece of land. And I feel like the process has to happen simultaneously. You're looking for land, and they're also looking for a builder. So sometimes they'll come to me once they have land. Sometimes they come in through the builder. So we meet our clients at different parts in the process, and there's really no wrong part to meet. We're happy to jump in and help, just like you guys. I'm sure you're happy to jump in and help no matter what part of the process they're in.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. With this client, it was kind of unique. They ended up buying 3 lots. One of them was going to be for their daughter down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But the other 2 lots were going to be kind of combined as their lot, and that's where they were going to build their house to start. So we ended up financing those 2 lots. They paid cash for the other lot. We financed these 2 lots into the whole construction loan. Could you tell us a little bit about construction loans? We were kind of working on this with a video. Kind of want to see it from your perspective.
Absolutely. So as far as construction, and you made a great point, you know, you're interested in 3 lots, you want to control who your neighbor is maybe in some circumstances, or add family. And sometimes family come to us and they'll say, you know, my uncle owns a farm and he's, you know, gifting us 1 parcel of land, and that's fine. So as far as the construction loan, the land becomes your down payment, right? So if you don't own your land in advance, you can purchase it the same time as you're doing the construction loan. If you come to us with the land already owned, which wasn't in our case, but if you come to us with land that's already owned, that becomes your equity, your down payment. Now for construction loans, and I'm speaking just from Fulton Mortgage, what we do for our programs is a 5% down. So let's use some easy math here. Say the construction is, we're going to go off $100,000 transaction, so we can do the easy math, but say the construction cost us $80,000 and the land is costing us $20,000. In that scenario, your client would only have to bring 5% down to the entire process. So 5% of the land you're purchasing as well as the construction. So it's that plus closing costs. So that's what people need to be prepared for as far as the construction loan. Now, once they start the process, I get a lot of questions on the time frame, like how long does it take? So the normal construction loan will take about 45 days from the time we start the process that you're signing those contracts. So from the time you sign the contracts, not buying the land, because that's what you guys do, it takes a little bit longer, but about 45 days it takes the process. Once you close, and I use air quotes because that is the only closing, we do a single close. Once you close with us, it is interest only during the build period. So in our case, with our builder, they are not charged anything until they basically take that first draw, right? It's interest only during the construction loan. This is what I love about the whole construction loan process. It's almost economy proof, right? I know you probably have a lot of clients that, ask, oh, our rate's going to go down. Maybe I should wait. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I like to call it an economy proof loan because at the end, say interest rates are currently hovering around 6%. If the time they're finished building, which could be a year from now, right? We do normal 12-month lock. At the time, if interest rates are lower, you get to float it down that one time. And there is no second closing. So you're not paying again for a closing. You're literally just able to float down. We call it modification, and you're able to float down the rate. So I do like that about construction loan. That's a construction loan in a nutshell, but it's really good to know you get to stay in your home for the most part, assuming you qualify. You're paying interest only while that builder is building, and you get that option to float it down at the end at modification. You also have the option of, say you do own your current home. So you guys would go ahead and list their home, right? At the end, they know about 30 days within the time they're closing.
Yeah, but we
would list
get
their,
that a lot.
Yeah, I know that happens a lot. Obviously, you don't want the two homes. Well, in most cases. But you would go ahead and list their home and kind of, coordinate that. You don't have to, but at modification, any of the proceeds from their current home would use to pay it down before we set that mortgage payment.
Oh, very good.
Mm-hmm. So I do like that factor. Mm-hmm.
So at the end there, then you're going to have an end loan, which is a standard, like conventional.
Right. And it automatically floats into it. So you don't have to do anything. In the old days, I think it was kind of, you had a refi at the end. This is your same loan you get to keep. The interest rate can't go up. You're going to lock that in the beginning. If it goes down, you get to take advantage of it. So just a normal, plain vanilla mortgage.
Very nice. Excellent.
Yeah, you really need a professional team around you, someone that does it all the time. I mean, if I was a client, I would absolutely be looking for folks that do it all the time. My builders, I sit on the Harrisburg Builders Association board. I'm treasurer there. And so I interact with a lot of these builders, literally every week, every day, attend all the shows. I speak at the conferences. So I'm very well versed in the construction industry in general. I can't say I can go out there and dig or measure anything, but as far as the finances, I've seen so much. I mean, there's a lot of gray area, and clients have a lot of questions what they can roll into the loan. I do get that. I get a lot of the extra stuff, or the realtor will come back and be like, hey, what? Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah. There's lots of things you can roll in. I want a pool. I want a porch. What about this septic permit? Can I do that? What if the well goes deeper? And, and we've dealt with all of that on our end. Is the generator part of the house? Does that become part of the, plans and specs? I mean, there's so many nuances to construction. I think it's super important to, have someone well-versed in that area that can advise. But as long as the buyer, is flexible and knows what goes into it. I mean, it's dirt. We don't know what's under the dirt. We don't know how the dirt's going to react. There's a lot of stuff we have to, figure out when you're purchasing land. It's important, not just location. There's a lot of other factors, as you guys more than know.
Oh, yeah. We were talking the other day about you have a special program for doctors.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that specific scenario, that 20 that we're talking about, 80 for construction, 20, is the land. So that 5%. So anytime at a bank you put less than 20% down, you get something called mortgage insurance. So, none of us like it, but it's one of those things, anything less than 20% down. The one exception to that, a lot of time there's first time home buyer things that would allow for that, but we also have a doctor construction loan. So that is a construction loan. There's no mortgage insurance on that loan. So and when I say doctor, sorry, it's a shortcut. It's a medical professional. So if you have your doctorate, podiatrist, a vet, a dentist, a pharmacist, it includes anyone that has a doctorate, just not the medical, just a doctor. It's all medical professionals.
All right, well, that should wrap everything up. Again, thank you for coming on with us today. And
Thanks a lot, Nikki. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, and feel free to send anyone my way. Happy to do a pre-qualification before you go down this whole path. We make sure the land and the construction go together, and happy to contact me anytime.
We absolutely will be sending people your way, and we hope this is the first of many times that we work together.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We went under contract with this client in September of 2025, and we ended up closing toward the end of November. So really a lot of work needs to get done in just a few months. As you can see, raw land development is completely different than buying or building in a neighborhood or planned community. You don't just buy it and start building. There's a lot of things that have to be considered and verified first. Things like septic systems, well placement, utility access, and whether the land is even buildable. This part of the process includes several tests that are necessary to determine the viability of the land. Now, these are typically done by the builder and include things like survey, perk and probe test, and well testing if no public water is available. Now, these would be included as contingencies on the agreement of sale, allowing us enough time to get them complete before settlement.
If public sewer is not available, it's at this point that you would conduct what's called a perk and probe test. A perk and probe test measures the soil's ability to absorb water. These tests tell us if the land is actually buildable. Very important test, and one you've probably heard of before and you might not have known what it was. The probe test is where they dig a deep hole, usually with a backhoe, to evaluate what's in the ground, looking at things like soil type, depth of usable soil, rock, and the water table to determine if there's enough suitable soil for a septic system. Then you have the perk test, which is short for percolation, and that measures how fast water drains through the soil by filling these test holes that they dig and then timing how quickly the water absorbs. This is very important because if the water drains too fast, it won't filter properly. And if it drains too slow, the system won't function the way that it should. At the end of the day, this determines one big thing. Really, the only thing. Can you build or can you not build? If a property fails perk and probe, you may not be able to install a standard septic system, which can completely change your plans.
Now that the land testing is done, the financing is in place, and all contingencies have been met, it's now time for settlement. Now, once settlement is complete, the next phase is preparing the site for the build. That includes clearing trees, grading the land, and finalizing plans with the builder. Needless to say, there is a lot of important steps and details to this process, and this is why having the right team in place matters, because missing something here can cost you a lot of time and money in the long run. Now, we hope this general overview gives you a better idea of what's involved in building a new home. In future videos, we're going to show you what each stage looks like in real time using our client experience as well as other market data and information.
Okay, so that's going to wrap up our video for today on the fundamentals of new construction. As we said, we are hoping to make this a multi-part series, up to and including showing you real-life examples being out on some of these lots when they're clearing and at various stages of the build to show you the examples that we work with. If you have any questions or want additional information, you can always reach out to us. Our contact info is in the description below. You can call, text, email, set up a Zoom, or best yet, you can call us at 717-REALTOR because we are realtors here in the 717 working for you. Until Until next time, keep it real.